Chris Vince, leader of Harlow Labour. Voter ID is coming in on May 2023 local elections. Good idea or bad idea?
Well, look, ultimately, it's the solution for a problem that doesn't exist. We know that actually voter fraud is minuscule, to say the least. This is something that the government brought in. I think it's very much politically motivated. It's going to cost, they predict £120 million over the space of 10 years, which might not seem like a lot compared to other costs that the government have had to fork out over the years. But it's £120 million on a problem that doesn't exist. It's not an issue, and we know that actually turnout in elections is low. That's something all politicians have a duty to tackle, including myself and including the Labour Party. So actually all this is doing is actually going to make less people come out and vote, and make elections even less representative, election results I should say, even less representative of the overall population.
So you use the word politically motivated. What do you mean by that?
Well, look, it doesn't seem to me, it's no surprise that this is being brought in at a time when actually this will mean that less people are going to vote at a time where a lot of people are really fed up with the Conservative Party and don't want to vote for them. So I think it's a bit of a coincidence, shall we say. Let's call it a coincidence that these two things have happened at the same time. But as I say, it's not an issue for in the majority of cases. The amount of voter fraud across the country is minuscule. So this is completely unnecessary, and it's going to cost the government money that it doesn't need to spend. And actually, we should be focusing. Sorry, Michael, but I think we actually should be focusing on how we can, address voter turnout. We as a council did do a consultation. This is something that I suggested, a consultation on voter apathy in local elections. We probably could have done more to ask those questions, and say ultimately we as politicians have got to gain the trust of electors to vote for them, but we don't want to put in front of electors artificial barriers which actually can prevent them going out and voting.
So turnout in different wards is somewhere around high 20s, low 30s at most in local elections. So you're genuinely worried that people, instead of saying, I can't find my passport right now, or I don't want to bring my passport out with me, I'll just not bother.
Well, it's an absolutely really valid point, and actually, we know that politics. Obviously, I'm a bit obsessed with it. I'm very interested in politics and local politics, and it's a real passion of mine. But for a lot of people, local politics isn't something they think about all the time. It is something that they won't sort of be planning their route to the polling station as such. They make a decision to go when they can throughout the day, and actually sometimes that might be after work. They might nip out during work and things. So it's just one more barrier that isn't needed to stop people going out and voting. To talk very briefly on local elections and the low turnout in local elections, look, and as a local politician myself, I take responsibility for that. I need to be going out talking to residents and convincing them that they should come out and vote for me. But we also know that as I've said many times in the council chamber, actually the funding for local government has been absolutely decimated after the last 12 years. We know that a lot of the powers that local government have had previously have gone. We only have to see that from some of the decisions that are kind of being forced through in planning meetings, when we vote against planning decisions, as we did with one of the developments in my ward, this gets overturned. So you can understand why there is apathy towards local politics. It's our job as local politicians to make politics relevant, and actually to give, as an opposition, it's important for us to give an alternative to the administration to actually make people want to come out and vote. But this is clearly just going to make less people come out and vote, and I really do worry about the turnout in elections. And actually, taking the party politics aside, I would hope that politicians of all political colours would represent the importance of getting people out and voting. Now, I appreciate this comes from a Prime Minister who wasn't voted by the people, and he wasn't even voted by the people in his own party, but I really think this is a very backward step in democracy in our country.